Hi everyone, welcome back to Thrifted Living. My name is Kieran. In today's video, I would like to share with you a fun DIY Halloween project. So when I was little, my mom would do this project with us sometimes where we would buy fish bowls, and it was something like glass fish bowls. We could find them at garage sales. At the time, you could find like pretty decent sized ones at the dollar store. And so we would buy those and we would make something called fishbowl pumpkins. So pretty much what we would do is we would take a glass clear fishbowl and we would paint the outside of it, usually with like a sponge and some orange paint, and then we would make eyes and a mouth and a nose and everything on it, and then we put a candle inside of it and it would be like a forever pumpkin. And it was something that we could do each year, and we could date them and say, you know, what year we made them. They were something, like I said, you could find a lot at garage sales for like 10 cents or a quarter, but also you could find some pretty substantial ones at the dollar store at the time. And so I thought it would be fun to do a fishbowl pumpkin kind of project, but instead of using fish bowls, because I couldn't find any that were really cheap, I thought it could be fun to make some using these candy jars that I found at Dollar Tree. So this is what the product looks like. It's called a candy jar with a lid, and the lid comes off. Actually, this one's taped on, but the lid comes off like this, and there are two different sizes. This is the original size that I found, but I recently went to Dollar Tree. Let me show you the other size. I also found these cute little baby ones. They're so cute. So here's the size comparison. So as you can see, this is the big one, this is the small one. This one can be set up on two different angles. This one only has the flat bottom right there. And I bought these quite a while ago, so I don't know if the bigger ones are like that, are like more like this one now, because I just bought this today. But this smaller one has two ways. You can set it like this, because there's a flat part there, and you can also set it like this. I kind of like the idea of making it like at an angle. So I went to Dollar Tree today to pick up some of these smaller candy jars. I already had a few of the bigger ones, and I also bought some stuff to make some different candy jar pumpkins. So let me show you what I got for this project. And really, you can make these any way you want. I just picked up a few things that I thought would be cute, so let me share those with you. Here are some of the products that I bought for this project. I bought 3 different kinds of paint. It is acrylic paint, and I got this at Dollar Tree. It's the Rich Art brand. I bought it in brown, black, and this orange color. It's kind of like a bright orange. You can paint the pumpkins any color you want to. I'm just sort of going classic for this first time around with them. I also bought a couple sets of sponge brushes, and I am also working on a project outside at our house that I needed some sponges for. Because what we do, it'll make sense when you guys see it, you kind of sort of like dab the paint on the pumpkin. You don't like brush it. It's sort of more like a textured kind of look. So I got a couple different styles to try. I got this sponge brush set, and I also got sponge dabber set. And then I also got some paintbrushes as well, because I wasn't quite sure where mine were. And you can use these to like sort of outline the features on the pumpkin. Then I got some ribbon. So these two I'm going to be using for the leaves of the pumpkin. I think that's gonna be really cute. And then I also got this lace kind of look too that I thought could be a fun addition. Maybe to go up at the top with the leaves. And then finally I got some candles. I also got some other candles. Well, I actually have some upstairs. I'm gonna see if these little tea lights work, but I also have some other electric battery operated candles that I'm going to try to see if those work. So I am going to start, I think, with the big one. I'm going to try to do one of each today. One big one and one small one. You can decorate these any way you want to. You can have it be like a classic pumpkin or like a themed pumpkin. Let me get set up and we will start painting. I'm so excited to be sharing this project with you guys today because it's something that is very nostalgic for me. So to start this, you are going to take whatever color paint that you want to use to color your pumpkins. I decided to use orange, and I'm also choosing to use these foam dabbers, I think they're calling it, to paint the pumpkin. So the main thing when I do this project is that you're not using like a brush and like brushing the paint on smoothly. As you can see, I applied a thicker coat of paint sort of toward the middle, and then I'm dabbing it around. So a little bit of paint goes a long way on this. And you kind of want to try to spread it out evenly. It's going to have a bit of a texture to it, which I think makes the pumpkin look really cool, and it makes the design really cool at the end, because as you'll see when I show you like the finished part of this painting, the pumpkin has like a three-dimensional kind of feature to it, the way the paint is on it. I think it looks really, really cool. So as you can see right here, it has some like texture to it. I then painted the lid of the candy jar, and I'm thinking that's sort of going to be like the top of the pumpkin, almost like the lid of the pumpkin when you're doing a pumpkin carving. You know, you cut out the top and then you have like the top of it. So I'm painting the top and around the sides so that it'll be completely covered in paint, and I painted both the large candy jar and the small candy jar. I'm really excited that I found the smaller ones because I didn't know that they had them. So I'm excited to have two different size pumpkins for this project. I bought a couple different kinds of brushes at Dollar Tree, and I really like these sponge dabbers for this project. I think it just makes it really, really easy, and the application of the paint is really convenient using these dabbers. They had them in a few different sizes as well, so I really liked using this product. So then I let the pumpkins dry for quite a while, and this is what they look like when they're dry. They're so pretty. I just love how the paint looks on these using the dabber, and I like it because it's a thin layer, and when you use the candle with it, you'll be able to see through it. So then I painted the top little handle. I was thinking that's sort of like the stem of the pumpkin. So I painted both parts on both different candy jars, and I think it looks really, really cute. I was thinking about maybe adding like a button or something, but I really do like the handle as it is, just like that. So then I actually took some of the other kind of sponge brushes that I got, and I actually took off the handle of one of them. And what I do is I'm cutting the sponge to make a stamp for the eyes and the nose. So you can use any type of sponge that you want, even like a kitchen sponge I think would work. But I like the idea of having it be out of that sponge so that it's easier to apply to the pumpkin. And I like it being a stamp because it gives it that sort of textured look again, as you can see here in just a second. So for my pumpkins, I decided to cut a triangle out of the sponge, and then I just took some of the paint, and I'm actually just sort of dabbing it on a separate piece of paper just to see how thick the paint is, and then I'm just using it as a stamp, and I just dip it in the paint and then put it on the pumpkin, and it gives it a little eye, and I think it's so cute. I really like using the stamp look because it gives it a textured look instead of the brush. I really like the look and the texture that a stamp gives it using like the sponge stamp. I think it gives it a really interesting and cute look. So I did the eyes and the nose on both the small and the big pumpkins, and I always get nervous when I'm doing things like this, even though I know I could just paint over it or just like clean the paint off. I always want to make sure that it's perfect as it can be. It would never be perfect, but I do think that maybe I would use a different kind of sponge in the future just because this one was a little thin and I got a lot of paint on my hands during the process. So after that, I then used a pencil to draw a mouth for the pumpkin, and this part was just a little bit more tricky because of the shape that I made the mouth. But what I did is I actually took a pencil, and I didn't realize that it was going to work like this, but when I was drawing on the pumpkin, it was actually taking some of the paint off. So as you can see here, it actually took some of the paint off, but it kind of works because it works as a guide for me using the stamp to be able to sort of create that look of the mouth on the pumpkin. So it's almost like an outline for me. So I decided to start by using the piece of triangle sponge that I had, and it did work for like the finer points, but then I did go through and use the dabber around the sides. That made it a little easier. So just thinking about some different products I might use in the future to sort of have those like precise angles with the sponge, but I think it looks really, really cute. Now that I'm thinking of it, I could have even used some of those sponge brushes because they did have like a pointed edge to them. So not the dabbers, I could have used some of the other sponge brushes as they were, but that's something I can do in the future. I was able to make it work, and I think they look really, really cute. It's very nostalgic for me. It reminds me of the pumpkins that I made with my mom when we were kids, and I just think they're really cute. So I took some time and I let that dry as well. Definitely take your time in between the steps and let it dry. Now I'm going to be adding some things to make sort of like the vines or the leaves on the pumpkin. And so I have a couple different types of ribbon, and I started with the green ribbon, and I went through and I sort of cut like a triangle in the bottom. I then took the lace ribbon and I cut another piece out for that as well and sort of like layered it on top of itself. And again, I cut a triangle in the bottom of that as well. I was really trying to find like a variety of different types of materials to add to this part. And the one thing I was realizing while I was working on this is I sort of wanted something that had a little bit more like volume to it, I guess you could say. And so I looked around in my craft room and I actually found some different types of wire material to use. So I found some gold wire and then some like twine wrapped wire, and I'm really happy that I was able to find these because what I actually did was I sort of used them like the ribbon, but what I ended up doing was taking them and curling them and sort of creating a little bit more of like a three-dimensional look to the piece. I wanted it to kind of look like vines like in the pumpkin patch, and then I did take a hot glue gun and sort of close off some of the ends because the twine was starting to unravel. So I first did the twine wrapped wire and then I went through and did the gold wire, and I really like the combination of the two different types of material together. I also took the handle of the sponge brush and I was using it sort of as like a curling tool to create little curls in the two different kinds of wire, and I think it turned out really, really cute. I just wanted to find something that would give it a little bit more almost like volume, I guess you could say, and I wanted to have a look like it was from the pumpkin patch, you know, and just different sort of like curls and different colors and different materials. I thought it was really, really fun, and I think they look so cute. So now it is time to take the tea lights and see how they look inside of the pumpkins, and I got these at Dollar Tree. I think they were 3 to a pack, and they're perfect for this project. I wasn't sure if the light was going to shine through enough, but it does, and it looks so cool. As you can see, it just glows the pumpkin and makes it just so cute, and I think it's absolutely adorable. So I then added one to the smaller pumpkin, and I'm just so happy with how these look. I think they're so much fun. They remind me so much of the ones that I would make with my mom when we were kids. So as you can see, it's just flickering there. It's so pretty. It's so fun for Halloween. And this is what it looks like displayed. I have it on the stairs. This is what it looks like during the day. This was like evening time, like sort of around sunset, but look at how cute they look. I am so happy with the light that it gives off during the daytime and that like flickering light, almost like a candle. But now let me show you what they look like at night. They look so cool. Oh my gosh, look at how much light these little candles give off inside of these pumpkins. It's just so pretty. I hope you enjoyed this candy jar pumpkin DIY. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Also, let me know if you would try to do this project and what kind of designs would you make with your pumpkin? What kind of Halloween items would you make? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!